eclipse without looking directly at the sun. Be sure to visit eclipse2017.nasa.gov for detailed instructions and advice.
Now, you may have seen these eclipse glasses, right?
Got my pair.
They are designed with...
Where's that work? I can't get over.
I mean, it burns your eyes when you don't become blind. Like, you can't see it, but you can have to see it for a long time. If you do look it up, of course it'll burn your eyes. I'm staring at that.
For them, the moon will cover the sun entirely. The sky will become twilight. The air will cool.
All right, guys. So we're gonna continue to monitor this right now. We're looking right now at a live picture and feed of the sun as the moon crosses over. For this right now, we're looking right now at what they call the. It's not the. Well, yeah, it's the actual sun. The moon going over the top. I'm not a scientist, but you know, the umbra is what they call when it fully covers the sun, and I guess it's the circle of the brightness of the sun shining out from the sides, and that's what you call the umbra. That's when the moon fully crosses as in direct of the sun. So I think I got that right. But look at the crowds. Look at the crowds out here. This is just amazing how many people are out there today. And this is happening all across the pathway of totality, which is spanning the whole of the continental USA. And they say every state in the United States will see this. Every single state will see some part of the eclipse, whether it's a partial eclipse or the actual totality of the eclipse, if you're right on that little pathway. But this is going to be footage of the totality right here. You're going to see totality, and you're going to see the darkness come over the crowds, and the focus of the sun coming, or the moon as it does go over the sun. You'll see it coming toward the shadow, coming toward the people that are covering it. And they say it comes at 30,000 miles an hour. Now, I think that's what they said. That's how fast you'll see the shadow approaching as it does go over. So they say it's an amazing event to be able to witness. So we're going to be sitting here watching this with you guys as it happens. And you see it's a little bit bigger chunk coming out of the sun there. Shouldn't be too much longer. How many of you is the first time that you've been at Trumpet News Channel? Type 1 in the chat. If this is the first time you've been here, type 1. Anybody that loves the channel and has been around, you guys keep supporting the channel. We're getting the message out. We want you guys to see what's happening in the world with an unfiltered view. Now, if it needs to be filtered, we will filter it just like we're doing right now so you don't burn your eyeballs out. But we do get the news to you in an unfiltered kind of manner. And that's what we do, is we compile news events from around the world live here at Trumpet News Channel on YouTube. We are an aggregator of the news, whether it's forums, the social media, Twitter, Facebook, and citizen journalists on the ground when they've got their camcorders out, just like right here. We've got feeds coming in from all over the United States. I'm going to get a few more feeds here in just a few minutes, so just hold tight. There we go, right there. We've got another view of it, right? The sun right there. Here's the other one we've got. So pretty much the same view you're looking at, just with a couple different filters. I kind of like the orange one there. But you are here at the Trumpet News Channel. Thumbs up the video. Share this on your social networks, this feed. Get the word out. If you're not in the pathway of totality, all you got to do is come to Trumpet News. You'll be right in the middle of it. People are just now waking up to the fact that you can actually see the eclipse now, and we've been watching it now for about 10 minutes, and these commentators are just now like, wow, we can actually see it now. They just heard. And so, see, that's why I'm saying you got to be right here at the Trumpet News Channel to be able to find things out before they happen. We get you news events and news stories usually hours before the mainstream gets it, because we monitor all the social networks, the forums, all the citizens that are on the ground posting. We usually will get you information and footage before the mainstream. Many times the mainstream covers things that we're covering. You know, they'll come over here to check us out to see what's going on so they can find out and get a heads up, because we do aggregate things right here. Here's the crowds. There's some of the crowds that you're looking at here, just one feed of people that are just now waiting to see the full eclipse come across the sky. Almost like a double rainbow, but it's a full-on eclipse all the way across the sky. Let's see what else we got here. We got another feed here. Let's look at this feed. This is Big Summit Prairie, Oregon. Let's go ahead and check that one out here real quick. Big Summit Prairie, Oregon. Looks the same to me. All right, hold tight, guys. Let me get you something else here. All right, here we go. We got another feed here I want to show you. This is this is Casper, Wyoming. They're going to see it a little bit later than the left coast over here in Oregon. You can see it's getting a little bigger there. It looks like a big bite out of a cookie, they say. That's not me. I'm just saying that's what they say. Pretty soon you'll see a big chunk out. And then once it hits, you'll see the big shadow just sweep over.
Okay, guys, can you look over here? They are candid. Their filters are a little bit more sophisticated than mine. So I bought the German film and rigged it.
Time Magazine is broadcasting this live via YouTube. Their channel is pull it up there on YouTube. So it's getting close. So it's about 20 more minutes.
10:21.
Starting now. Okay, and by the way, happy birthday.
They're saying about 15-20 minutes. I think it'll be totality. So you got about 10-15 minutes, I guess.
Well, I may have some tomato sauce for you too.
Welcome to Time's 360 Degrees Solar Eclipse live stream.
All right, we just moved on from there. Let's go over here and check this one out. Whoops. My computer just made a weird noise. All right, let's see what else we got here.
And hike all morning long and then return in the afternoon. This will be maybe the best hike of their life.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, it's already beautiful there. It's hard to imagine you being in total darkness. I assume you brought some lights for when that happens. Can you talk a little bit more about the viewing spot there? Are you in an area where crowds are gathered and where they have telescopes out and where there are a lot of people?
Yeah, there's a few folks, but it's so spread out that that there's not one big viewing area.
Right.
They didn't allow people to sleep overnight in their cars or anything else, so they kind of had to get here this morning. And people are, you know, they're in the city of Jackson too. They're in Grand Teton National Park. They're spread all over Wyoming. The actual line of totality, the center line of totality, we're very close to. It actually cuts right through Jackson Airport. So in terms of center viewing location, you can't get much better than this, but people do have a swath of a few miles to move around in.
What is this like for you? I mean, you've been all over the world. You've covered some really intense stories. To cover in a celestial phenomenon like this, what is it like?
It's right up there. It's right up there. The national parks are pretty special places, and Grand Teton is right up there at the top of the list. And then to add this to it adds another level of excitement.
Yes,
It's interesting because even the people who I think sometimes are a little pessimistic about things, there's a certain energy that starts to build, and you feel it. You see it. And you feel it, and I think no matter how you feel about eclipses or parks or being outdoors or whatever else, it's a special time to be here.
As we tick closer to the time in which you'll see full totality where you're standing, mentally, do you have a way that you'll be able to savor it even though you're working right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was debating a lot of these times when you do these really special things, I always say to myself, I'm going to put down the camera and just soak it in.
Right.
And just try to enjoy it. It usually doesn't happen, and I bring out the camera just a little bit. So I'm going to try to just watch as much as I can. And then what I'm going to do is, if I'm going to take with the iPhone, the cameras have gotten so much better now. If you put the iPhone, the lens right up to the actual, I'll get like another pair of shades. And then if you put them right up against there,
right,
you can get some decent shots of the sun.
All right. Well, I hope you get your shots, and I hope you have time to really enjoy that event. Jeff Glore reporting from Wyoming, where we're already starting to see these amazing pictures come out of what looks like a chunk being taken out of the sun as the moon starts to encroach in this solar eclipse. Right now, we want to show you how CBS News covered the eclipse back in 1979.
The total eclipse is now commencing in Valdosta, Georgia. We hope that all those amateur astronomers and professional astronomers and ordinary people of
that Walter Cronkite
don't have too great a disappointment to swallow. Let's switch back there now immediately to Nelson Benton.
Charlie, what we're seeing right now is what you're seeing. There is just nothing here. It has gotten dark, and I must say that this is quite an experience because just moments ago, we had reading light. We had enough light to discern figures quite clearly, and it was almost as though a giant rheostat just dimmed the sun. And of course, we are dealing now with no lights whatsoever, except some lights in the college, some 30 or 40 feet from our cameras.
I think we should tell our viewers that in another 10 minutes or so, we're going to have a chance to see another total eclipse of the sun at Halifax, Nova Scotia. What about the people who live down south and just missed this eclipse today? When's their next chance going to be, Dr. Franklin?
Depends on just where they live down south, but the next eclipse that will pass across this nation will come in somewhere, say, Northern California and go out along in the Carolinas in the year 2017.
That's a pretty long time to wait.
Coverage from 1979 here on CBS News. CBS News correspondent David Begnaud joins me now from Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, I just thought Nashville,
all right,
Tennessee.
This feed here is from Oregon. It looks like they're putting a filter on their camera. This is directly from Madras, Oregon. This picture you're looking at right here, Madras, Oregon. So as you put the filter on that, you'll probably see, as they focus in, you'll see the cookie, the bite out of the cookie there of the sun from the moon. They need to focus in. Here they come. They're coming in really close now. You'll probably see it here in just a second. This is live from Madras, Oregon. Hopefully they can get this squared away. I don't think they're doing it right at the moment, so let's just go back over here and look at. This is the live picture with the filter on the sun focused in. This is out of Prairie, Oregon, and you're watching it right here. Here's another view of it from a different kind of filter there. I like this one here. It's a little more clean. And you just got people from all over the country talking about this. Now, so many people talking about it, they're not looking at what's actually happening. Here's some pictures of people that are just making a party of it. This is in Wyoming here. Wyoming. Now we're going to be looking at a lot of different feeds as this thing comes over the top. It should be in about a little less than 15 minutes now that we should see totality. And we're right on the totality line, all up and down, side to side from the United States, from trying to cover different angles.
Straight. You can't see me, but mine look truly geeky and ridiculous. I mean, you actually look cool. And I love hearing the Southern boy come out as you speak to the folks in Nashville.
Gotta keep it real. By the way, when you put on the glasses, you'll notice, you'll think you're blind because you don't see anything out of it. That doesn't mean they're malfunctioning. When you actually look up at the sun, that's when it all becomes clear. And remember, they say that when the totality actually happens, you can take them off for a minute, but that point, that hour and a half that it starts partial and then becomes a total eclipse, gotta have the glasses on. Do yourself a favor. There are people walking this earth who in 1979 risked it and have had vision problems. Some people who are blind because of it, so just be careful.
Yeah, it looks like pretty good weather there, too. I mean, does it look like it's going to be pretty clear viewing there?
Yeah. In fact, I was talking to a colleague of mine who's in Missouri right now for the eclipse, and he said, David, he said the clouds are moving in. But as I look up at the sky, I'm not the weatherman, but what do they call this? Nice and clear. How was that delivered?
Speaking of nice and clear, stay with me for a second. I just want to show our viewers some really cool drone footage that we're getting from where you are, which is, there's the Grand Ole Opry. I was just there a few months ago.
Yeah.
You can see the crowds gathering, and of course, you can hear that wonderful country soundtrack, which I assume is going to be the soundtrack to your eclipse viewing there in Nashville.
Even the eclipse comes with a soundtrack, Stephanie. 90,000 people supposedly stayed overnight in hotels, but Nashville is it's a one-day drive for roughly a million, let's say 100. No, it's actually 100. Let me get that number right. 165 million people could drive here in a day. So we were talking to the Tennessee State Police, who were saying, we wonder how many people are going to stop on the side of the road who are from places like Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi who drove up here. How many of them are going to stop on the side of the road? So they're really preparing for traffic problems as the eclipse moves on through.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, whether there are events like throughout the city where large...
Now, I've also heard that there could be power outages across the U.S. as a result of this, grid going down, and we're talking about the solar grid, because there is a solar grid out there that they're wondering that could affect our power. And lots of traffic problems, potential problems for people that are stranded on highways without gas, because there's just so much that's going on with so many people coming to these areas that all the way across the totality of the United States, that it's major problems.
So on television, you're going to be in the studio?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to be watching the special report, as a lot of Americans that don't get totality like you do, but thanks for rubbing it in there. David, I know you've been talking to the crowds because I know you enjoy that. Are a lot of the people from out of state? Are there a lot of Nashvillians that are there? And are there hardcore, like, solar eclipse people that follow these things around?
All right, how many of you guys are new to the Trumpet News channel? Type 1 in the chat there. Look at the ones. Look at the ones. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. How many of you guys are old timers, have been here for a long time? Type 2. Let's see how many 2s we got out there. We got lots of new people here tonight, or today. I'm thinking it's night because it looks like night, but we're here in the day. It will be night. It'll be like night in just about 10 minutes on the path of totality. And you are in the path of totality right here at the Trumpet News channel.
Right?
Yeah.
So the idea is that you will have citizen scientists around the country inputting information like, well, how did your dog react? What did it look like from your farm in rural Kansas? Those kinds of things. So they believe they will get more research from this eclipse than ever before.
And David Begno, I know out there in Nashville, you're going to have a great view, so enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the super chat. Samar Hajjaj, thank you for the support here at the Trumpet News channel. We do thank all you out there who support the channel in every way. You got the links down below in the video description. Make sure you check those out as well. Our social networks, how you can support the channel to keep us on the air. God bless.
I give that a big thumbs up. I think it looks great. I think places like Kansas City, Missouri, actually, I'm certain that places like Kansas City, Missouri, the cloud deck is already in place, and it's going to be affecting the view there. Also, Charleston, South Carolina.
That's where it exits, right?
And well, it is. It's also a coastal community, so yep, comes on at the coast and exits the coast. And boy, the problem there is the marine layer. You have a sea breeze setting up. There's clouds overhead. I do not see that disappearing during this eclipse, so I think they're going to have issues as well.
They have an hour to drive somewhere else, right?
If you listen, and Steph, that's a great thing to say.
Hey, hightail it somewhere.
You know what? Hey, Charleston, if you hear me, get in your car, drive inland for an hour, and you're right. You'll get a much better view inland.
What are we looking at right now? I mean, we're starting to see some really cool pictures come in from NASA TV, come in from our own CBS News cameras.
Well, for us, it's going to be 90 minutes prior, wherever you are, okay? 90 minutes prior to totality. Totality for you and me right here in New York City is at 2:44.
Okay.
Okay, so you go 90 minutes prior to that, and that's when the moon is going to start to encroach upon the sun. It's going to make it, its cross as far as it will go where you live. Here in New York City, we get 71% coverage.
That's pretty good. And I read that everywhere in the country, in every state, you're going to be able to see at least a partial solar
eclipse. You get something. You get something out of this. Alaska might be a little bit of a push, but you get.
So the continental U.S.
You betcha, continental U.S. Everybody gets something. That's why this is the Great American Solar Eclipse.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
I've seen a solar eclipse. I've never seen a total solar eclipse. And I was petitioning our bosses. I said, "Look, send me." I actually.
David, what are you doing here?
David got the assignment. I wanted to go to Nashville. I thought that would have been great. I've never seen a total solar eclipse because I took some flack on my Twitter page today because somebody said, "Oh, you're blowing this into like something enormous." I've been through a total eclipse before. It doesn't become pitch black out there. Well, then, listen. whoever it was that tweeted that, you were not in the path of totality.
Yes, it is. Pitch black. It's going to be like night.
2.5 minutes. It will go to nighttime. Daytime turns to nighttime. Steph, you will be able to see stars in the sky.
Amazing. One of the things I think that is unique, and of course I was reading and...
For all you guys out there that do the super chat, I will give you a shout out just like I just did. Lady Songbird says, God bless you. Lady Songbird, thank you for the support of the Trumpet News channel. How many of you guys out there know how to super chat? It's the money button down below. You're supporting the channel as well as getting your message out.
Go to far-flung places to see a total solar eclipse. It is coming to them. Yeah. That's what makes this so special.
Well, and for the people who are like maybe a little slow to catch on, like, oh man, this is clearly a bigger deal than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
For those people who are thinking that, you got plenty of time now to plan for 2024. Right. We know that one's going to travel from Texas to Maine, so make your plans now.
Yeah.
And as far as us, that'll get closer to us here in New York City, but it looks like it'll be upstate New York, not Manhattan.
Okay, so you were saying that...
How many of you guys think this is a sign from the heavens? Somebody's trying to give America a message. How many of you guys think that? The timing of it is pretty weird, don't you think? All the stuff happening in North Korea, civil, social unrest here in the U.S., it seems like complete chaos is breaking out in the world. What do you guys think? How many of you guys think it's a sign? Type 1, a good omen. Type 1, a bad omen. Type 2.
The entire time.
So if we're here, it's my daughter has these. She's ready to watch it. Over here, does everybody need to have these
Without
glasses
a doubt,
here?
From start to finish.
Okay.
Even even the places who will go to 99% coverage. Okay, so they're relatively close to that path of totality. But unless you get to totality, if you're at that 99% coverage and you still have a sliver of the sun, that is still just the sliver of the sun is 10,000 times more intense than a full moon.
Okay.
And it can damage your eyes.
All right, good to know. And pretty good weather forecast too.
I'll tell you, I think all in all, having a couple of rough spots out there, it could have been a lot worse. 85% look to be good viewing conditions.
Lonnie Quinn, WCBS. Thanks so much, Lonnie.
My pleasure.
I'm going to bring in Matt Penn, who is head of the CATE Science Project. He joins me now from Weiser, Idaho. Hey, Matt, I've been looking forward to talking to you so you could tell me and our viewers what the CATE Project is and what it has to do with our viewing this solar eclipse.
Right. So as you mentioned, the path of totality crosses the entire continent. So the CATE experiment is called the Continental America Telescopic Eclipse Experiment, or CATE for short. That's a little bit easier. But the idea is to establish a network of 68 telescopes that are identical across the entire continent and to take data as the shadow of the moon passes over each telescope.
Okay, so what kind of data are you gathering, and where are all these folks situated, and why is it important to have this data?
Right, so, we study the corona all the time at the National Solar Observatory, and also NASA has missions in space that study the corona, but there's a little region near the corona in the inner...
All right, I must have been a little wrong there. I guess it's 27 minutes to count down, so we got another 27 minutes to go. This is a countdown view right here.
The idea is that at any one location, for instance, here in Weiser, Idaho, we'll see 2 minutes of totality and see the corona then. But if we string...
This is Silverton, Idaho, Oregon.
93 minutes long.
Okay, since I have you, and we're starting to see extraordinary pictures, live pictures coming out from NASA, live pictures from our CBS News cameras that are around the country, and we're actually starting to see now what it looks like when the sun is in a partial eclipse. Can you talk to me about what we're looking at? I know you can't see the picture, but it's basically the moon. It actually looks like a crescent sun, if you will.
Exactly, and as the moon starts to bite more and more of the sun away, things get even more interesting, especially for you people who will see just a crescent sun. You'll be able to look outside at shadows and see very strange shadows. Underneath a tree where you normally see just dappled light, you see crescents. Or if you make shadows with your hands and look at the shadow, you'll see crescents instead of circles. So that'll be building up over the next about an hour, and then totality will hit from many locations along the path.
So I understand as part of the CATE project, you're going to be taking photos every 10 seconds and capturing what's happening with totality. Was there special equipment that needed to be deployed to capture this?
Oh, yes. It's actually more images than every 10 seconds. We're taking about 4 images per second. And the equipment is specialized. So we had our teams from all across the country, that includes 22 high schools and 27 universities. We had them attend training workshops at the end of May and in the beginning of June to get trained up on how to use the telescope. Since then, they've been observing the sun, and we've looked at their sample data and given them feedback about what to improve, the focus or the pointing or whatever. And they've gotten really good. Some of these guys are taking excellent data, better than I can take with the telescope.
It's very cool. You know, I was talking to Lonnie Quinn, our weather forecaster, earlier about some cynical folks out there who say this isn't a big deal. There's a total solar eclipse that happens every 18 months in the natural course of celestial events. What makes this solar eclipse so special to researchers like you?
Well, like you said at the beginning, this is the path is traveling over the continental United States, and so we can access the path at many locations. You know, the shadow of the moon doesn't care what part of the Earth it crosses, and the U.S. only covers 2% of the globe, so the path doesn't really necessarily go over the United States very often. Normally it's over the oceans or over deserts or remote areas. But that's not the case today. We're going over, you know, a civilized area, and we can put telescopes at strategic locations across the entire path.
Yeah, that's really hard to do if you see a solar eclipse happening over the middle of the ocean. And I was reading, because water covers so much of the Earth, a lot of times these total solar eclipses are not coming with this type of accessibility, and not only to scientists, but to just average people. How will you be experiencing this eclipse yourself?
Well, we've got a sample set up here to take some calibration data alongside the setup for the Weiser High School. So we'll be taking calibration data that will enable us to stitch together the intensities from all the telescopes across the entire country. So I'll be outside taking data as well. And then after the eclipse is over, we'll come in here and make a movie to present it on the web, hopefully within 2 hours after it ends.
At the high school there, huh? Matt, I wonder, have you ever seen a total solar eclipse before?
Yes, actually, I've been lucky enough to see 2 total eclipses, and we're doing scientific experiments at each one.